Hello children, I hope you're staying safe at home. Now in biology today we're going to start with the excretory system. Now you know a large number of waste products are formed inside our body during metabolism. There are large amounts of carbon dioxide, water produced because of the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Now, there are even nitrogenous waste products due to the metabolism of proteins and other complex nitrogenous compounds, which forms ammonia, uric acid, and these must not stay inside our body. Why? Because these nitrogenous products are toxic or poisonous and they are harmful if it stays inside our body. So they are all thrown out of the body with the help of the excretory system. Now coming to excretion. The definition of excretion is the process of removal of chemical waste, especially nitrogenous waste from the body, is known as excretion. Now excretion is very important. Why? Because it plays an important role in maintaining the homeostatic, means a steady state, okay, condition of the body. Now, when we talk about the organs which are concerned with the formation, storage and elimination of urine, we are talking about the excretory system. Now, substances that need to be eliminated. There are many chemical substances which are formed in the body or which are also absorbed through the food that we take in, and it must be eliminated or thrown out. Why? Because they will become harmful inside our body. So some of these substances are carbon dioxide and water formed by respiration. They are respiratory products. Nitrogenous wastes formed by the metabolism of proteins, carbohydrates, fats. There are excess salts and vitamins which do not stay in our body, that must be eliminated out. Water, bile pigments. Now carbon dioxide and water, you know, are formed during respiration. When energy is formed in our body, how is this energy formed? Oxygen acts on the glucose and it produces carbon dioxide and water. And you know how is carbon dioxide eliminated or thrown out from the body? Through the lungs. When we breathe out carbon dioxide, and the extra water is released out of the body in the form of sweat. When we talk about nitrogenous waste, I already told you we are talking about urea, uric acid and ammonia. And how are they formed? They are formed in the liver from the dead protein remains of other tissues that are brought to the liver. Now, if there are any extra amino acids, you know the end product of digestion of proteins are amino acids, and these cannot be stored in the body. If there are any excess or extra amino acids, it is not stored in the body, so they are taken to the liver where they are broken down and it produces usable, and it can also be stored as glycogen, glucose, extra glucose is stored in the liver as glycogen. And the urea, if it remains in the body, it is highly poisonous, and if it accumulates in the blood to a certain limit, then it also causes death. So the urea has to be excreted out, okay? And urea, remember children, is excreted out through the kidneys in the urine. Excess salts such as common salt, that is sodium chloride, the table salt, and some excess water soluble vitamins B and C, you know, need to be eliminated if there are any extra, okay? And these are also given out through the kidneys. Water is taken in, you know, with food and beverages. When we drink water, when we drink tea, milk, anything, and even food, we take in water in large quantities. So any extra water has to be removed, which of course also serves, since it is a universal solvent, it also serves a useful purpose of dissolving the harmful materials to carry them out. Now, bile pigments, mainly yellow bilirubin, are the breakdown products of hemoglobin of dead red blood cells. Red blood cells, when they are destroyed in the liver, produces a pigment which is known as bilirubin, and it is yellow in color. So the liver cells extract it from the circulation and secrete it into the bile juice. Okay, what does the liver cell do? It it takes it from the circulation and puts it into the bile juice. And the bile juice, is poured into the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, through the common bile duct. These pigments are modified in the intestines to pigments that give feces their yellowish brown color, and some of these pigments are excreted in the urine. That is why urine is also yellowish in color. Okay, so here you have another definition of excretion. Excretion is the removal of harmful and unwanted nitrogenous waste products from the body. Now, excretory organs. Now, excretion in humans are brought about by different organs. First, the main is kidneys, the primary, the main excretory organs, which excrete out the nitrogenous waste, especially urea, from the blood and throws it out in the form of urine. So what throws them out? The kidneys. Next is the sweat gland. Excretion by sweat gland is incidental. Okay, actually these glands, when we sweat, actually the body is cooling down. When we sweat only when it is very hot. So when we sweat, the sweat evaporates from our body, taking away heat. So that way our body will cool down. So that is known as thermoregulation. Okay, so when excretion in the form of sweat is given out, what happens? The sweat also contains small amounts of nitrogenous waste, not as much as kidneys. Okay, so sweat glands pass out sweat only when required for cooling. So truly they are not excretory. So when it is cold during winters or in cold regions, people do not perspire. So only when sweat comes out, when perspiration takes place, then only the nitrogenous waste will be given out. So in a true sense, they are not excretory in function. Now, of course, next is the lungs. You know what is given out by the lungs. Excretion by lungs in the form of carbon dioxide is released in the expired air. Now, next, coming to the kidneys. The kidneys are two bean-shaped organs, each 10 centimeter long and 6 centimeter wide. And where is it situated? It is situated on either side of the backbone, at the back, and protected by the last two ribs. Okay, now the right kidney is at a slightly lower level than the left one. There is a tube. The ureter arises from the notch hilum in the median surface of each kidney and connects it with the urinary bladder. So you can see the kidney is bean shaped. Okay, and as I already told you, you find it on either side of the backbone and protected by the last two ribs. Now a tube, ureter. There, this is the ureter. Okay, it arises from the notch. This is the hilum, which is going in, sort of a depression going in. Okay, from the hilum, it arises from the hilum in the median surface, middle. Median means the middle surface of each kidney, and connects it behind with the urinary bladder. So ureter, where does it go? It goes towards the urinary bladder. The front end of the ureter, you can see it is expanded. Okay, the front part of the, here you can see this is the ureter. The front part, it is expanded. Okay, and it is known as the pelvis. So here you can see this expanded portion is known as the pelvis. The urine produced in the kidneys constantly flows through the ureter. So the urine which is produced by the kidney will keep flowing down through the ureter, and it collects where? It collects in the urinary bladder. And the urine is intermittently emptied at regular intervals from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body through the urethra. Okay, so from the urinary bladder, there is another opening to the outside which is known as urethra. Ureters carry urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder, and the urethra throws the urine from the urinary bladder to the outside. Okay, now the openings of the ureters into the bladder are somewhat projecting and acts like valves to prevent the backflow of urine. when the bladder contracts to pass out the urine. So when the urine is being passed out, the urinary bladder will contract to throw out the urine. So at that time, what happens? The openings of the ureter, they are projecting and they will close the opening there so that there is no backflow of urine into the ureter. And there you have circular muscles which guards the opening of the bladder into the urethra, and it relaxes only during the time of urination, also known as micturition, and that is under the impulse from the brain. When we look at a longitudinal section of the kidney, you will see two main regions: an outer darker cortex, this is the outer darker cortex, and inner lighter medulla. The medulla, you can see, is made up of finely striped substances arranged in several conical pyramids. Pyramids means triangular shape. So they are striped, okay, and they are arranged in pyramids. The apex of each pyramid, okay, apex means the tip, okay, it projects into the pelvis. So the tip of each triangle or the pyramid, it is projecting where? Towards the pelvis. Here you can see towards the pelvis. The kidney is made up of a large number of minute tubules, very, very small tubules called uriniferous tubules or nephrons or renal tubules or just kidney tubules. That is the unit of kidney, the unit structure. The smallest part that makes up the kidney is known as kidney tubules or renal tubules or nephrons or uriniferous tubules. So that is why they are structural as well as functional units of the kidney. So next we move on to the structure of a kidney tubule. Now when we look at the structural and functional unit of the kidney, that is the smallest unit of the kidney, that is the kidney tubule, you will see the following parts. First is the Bauman's capsule. So this is your Bauman's capsule. It is thin-walled. It has a single cell epithelium. It is cup-like, so you can see cup-like, okay, and it is like a hollow ball. If you take a hollow ball and you press it deep on one side, okay, now it's hollow internal space. So this internal space, it is hollow, okay, and this hollow internal space continues into the tubule. Now the outer concave side of the cup, this is the concave side of the cup, you can see it lodges or it holds a knot-like mass of capillaries known as glomerulus. So the Bauman's capsule and the glomerulus together are called Malpighian capsule or renal capsule. So the Bauman's capsule together with the glomerulus, this entire part is known as Malpighian capsule or renal capsule. Now after that you can see there it goes up and down, up and down. So this region is the first convoluted tubule or proximal convoluted tubule, also abbreviated as PCT. Okay, so it is nearer to the Bauman's capsule. Proximal means near. Okay, so both the Bauman's capsule and the proximal convoluted part lie in the cortex. So from here, if you see this portion, it lies in the cortex. That is the Bauman's capsule with the glomerulus, that is the Malpighian capsule, and the first convoluted tubule or proximal convoluted tubule, you'll find it in the cortex of the kidney. Now, after that, you will see, goes deep inside, you can see a U-shaped, okay, this U-shaped part is known as loop of Henle, okay, so it is like a hairpin, it is not convoluted, just a U shape, okay, and this convoluted part, that is the loop of Henle, this U shaped part, it goes into the medulla first and then comes back into the cortex to continue. There it goes down. So this region you will find in the medulla. That is the loop of Henle. So it forms a U shape, goes right down and then comes back, and then you will find this part, that is the next convoluted region, which is far away from the glomerulus, that is at a distance. So it is known as the distal convoluted tubule, also abbreviated as DCT, or it is also known as the second convoluted tubule. So it comes back right again, it comes back into the cortex. So we have the malpighian capsule, the proximal convoluted tubule, and the distal convoluted tubule in the cortex of the kidney, and the loop of Henle. Where do you find? You find it in the medulla of the kidney. Okay. So after that, you can see the distal convoluted tubule. It goes and it reopens into the collecting duct. It reopens, it comes and opens into the collecting duct. The collecting duct, you know, it takes in the contents of the kidney tubules and pours it as urine in the pelvis of the urine. So urine goes down and then it moves on to the pelvis of the kidney. And remember, children, that Henle's loops and collecting ducts, they lie in the medulla, giving it a striped appearance. So you have the collecting duct and the loop of Henle in the medulla. So that is why it has a striped appearance. So this is all for today, children. In the next upload, we'll continue from where we left off. For your assignment, I want you to draw this structure. Draw this diagram in your practical sheets. Okay, and also you will draw the diagram of the kidney in longitudinal section. That is just before this. This is 9.3 in my text book. So it will be 9.2, the previous one. Diagram, you will see the kidney in longitudinal section, simplified as well as along with the blood vessels, and you will submit it on Wednesday. Okay, so till then, children, stay safe. God bless you.